What's up, everybody? Sorry for the latest start, but we are on Ultimate Team State Consolation semis. Tonight, the action that we got is Marshfield versus McGuanago and Holman versus Kaukauna. So a couple of D1 matchups here tonight. We got all the placement matches next week for 7th, 5th, 3rd, and 1st. So just got to hash out a couple more matches before we get into it. But it's just me tonight. Steve can't make it. His dogs went on a little adventure today for a few hours. He did find them. They are safe. They're just tired. And I've been there with trying to find dogs. It makes for a long day. So Steve's going to be chilling with his family and give his dogs lots of treats tonight. For the coin toss, or sorry, not for the coin toss, but for the weight draw, going classic tonight, starting off at 106 pounds. And also, I know it's just me, but I have the chat up as well. So I'm going to try to kill two birds with one stone by running the duel and keeping an eye on the chat as well. But without further ado, let's go into Marshfield versus McGuanago. I'll share my screen here. And Marshfield did win the toss. They're going to be, they chose McGuanago to send first on even. So Marshfield sending first on odds. This was for Marshfield to see where McGuanago would want to send at 138 and see how things would go there. So starting off at 106 pounds, Ava Gardner versus Josephine Stikowski gave Stikowski a straight pin in this one. For Jace Kellenhofer versus Brian Whipple, first of what I believe is 3 or 4 swing matches that we have in this duel. So going right to the wheel, which is glitching a little bit here, but should be fine. I'll wait till it gets to a middle point and run from there. And McGuanago takes the first swing match at 113 pounds. So McGuanago jumps out to a 9-0 lead. Caleb Denny versus Adam Whittier gave a pin to Denny here. So Marshfield gets on the board to make it 9-6. 126 pounds. Graydon Rohde versus Blake Roberts. This one is either a decision or a major for Roberts. It's just 50-50 either way. And Roberts does pick up the major. So McGuanago attacking on 4 more points. 132 pounds. Keegan Cliver versus Brady Wears-Bicky. This one's also a decision or a major. Yeah, Tim, no, I was thinking the same thing, man. Whoever the first swing match lands on, you usually got to feel pretty good about your chances. And this one flips to a decision in favor of Cliver at 132. So Marshfield picks up another 338 pounds, Blaskowski and Thomas Jungwirth. So McGuanago, we figured that they'd send out Jungwirth here to Blaskowski because Blaskowski's he's almost a guaranteed pin against a lot of people. So might as well give Jacob Wazinski a chance at 145. Blaskowski does pick up 6. 145 pounds, Brett Franklin versus Jacob Wazinski. Got this one either as a major or a pin for Franklin. Right now we're in the heat of the McGuanago lineup. So the Marshfield lineup. But huge job there by Wazinski holding off the pin from Franklin. Franklin still picks up 4. So we're at 19-13 Marshfield at the halfway point. 152 Griesbach and Gable. So this one's a 30-70 major pin for Gable. So I'll change the wheel as such. Griesbach is pretty good at holding his own here against pinners, but we are talking about Cody Gable. And man, McGuanago getting all the bonus points in their favor so far in this duel, as Gable picks up a pin to knot things up after 8 matches here and heading into Willowite versus Elishevsky. Huge swing match now. This one's actually 55-45 in favor of Willowite. Just using a lot of common opponents, kind of the six links of Kevin Bacon or whatever it's called. But someone wants to correct me on what that is, but there were some connections that, led us to think that Willowite would have the advantage over Elishevsky here. Or regardless, McGuanago wrestling a really good duel right now, and 6 degrees. Thank you, Tim. Don't know if the percentage would have mattered, as this one landed right in the middle of Marshfield. So Willowite picks up a win at 160 pounds. 170, Ryan Doziel versus Alex Jacoby. You got this one as a 1090, a tech or a pin for Doziel. So more than likely a pin, but we're giving Jacoby some respect here as well. Doziel also, he likes to get his tech falls too. And Doziel picks up a pin at 170 pounds. As we head into the last 4 weight classes, Marshfield is up 9 points. 182, Cameron Denny versus Hayden Chitwood. This one's either going to be a decision, major, or a pin here for Denny. 20% chance of a decision, 70% chance of a major, 10% chance of a pin. Could be a pretty big spin here if it doesn't land in major territory, and sneaking towards a pin, but still stays at just 4 for Denny. So that puts Marshfield up 13 with 3 matches to go. And the duel basically comes down to this one, I think. Almost Wykes versus Crimplebine. This one is a swing match between Wykes and Crimplebine. Both solid wrestlers. Kind of hard. At some point, you get to a point where you realize it's just going to be a straight swing match. And Cody Wykes does pick up the victory here to give the advantage to Marshfield. So I guess the duel was decided at after 82, but at 220 in heavyweight, we gave Ryan Major a solid decision over Adrian Kruger. And then Wolfgang Schnabel ends the duel with a pin for McGuanago, but it makes it 35-28 Marshfield. So basically just breaking down the duel, McGuanago would have had to win one more swing match, and then also find a bonus point or save a bonus point in another match. And I think it's just kind of the matchup. McGuanago, like, they're pretty strong in their upper weights, and that just happens to be where Marshfield is very, very strong. So tough matchup here, but McGuanago still wrestling for 5th place next week. Marshfield wrestling for 3rd. Who will Marshfield face? We will find out here, as we have a Division I finals rematch here between Holman and Kakana. And being a Holman guy, I was a little prideful on this one, and I decided not to change any of the lineups from the team state finals. Kakana won that one by 12 or 13. You'd think I'd have like the score memorized perfectly, but yeah, basically wanted to keep the lineups the same just to see if Holman could do it. Obviously, a wheel doesn't perfectly decide things, but still a fun exercise here to see if we get close to the final score too. But Thiel versus Pazorski. I know Thiel got a takedown against Pazorski in that state finals match at 106, but Pazorski ended up winning by 5. We ended up making this either a decision or a major for Pazorski, kind of leaning towards a major. And Thiel able to hold off a bonus point there from Pazorski. So far, same result as what we saw at Team State. Pazorski does pick up 3 there for Kakana. Let me get my phone in low battery mode. Gotta shut that off. Otherwise, my screen shuts off. And that's where I have all my dual notes at. But 113 pounds, Campbell versus Hansen. So Campbell got a tech against Hansen in the duel. Hansen's really good at staying off of his back. I know Campbell's a pinner. I think in this one, Hansen's outmatched. And I think I just went with a solid 5 on this one. It was just kind of hard to either sway towards a major or a pin for any percentage. So kept Campbell at 5 here. Peters versus Ammerman. This one is 1090 in favor of a pin for Peters. The pin happened for Peters late in the match. So that's where we gave the 10% for a tech fall. So if a tech happens here, might be hearing it from the Kakana folks, but don't blame me, blame the wheel. And it's coming around fast on a tech fall, but Peters in classic Peters fashion does get the pin, presumably by Cradle in that one. 126, Andrew Weiss versus Brian Winans. They wrestled a pretty good match at State. Again, I think Weiss got the first takedown, but just looking at common opponents throughout the year, it was just safe to give Winans a solid 3. I don't know if he gets a major on Weiss. That'd be a pretty tough call, but I also, on the flip side, it was just tough to find a way that Weiss could win that one. So Winans picks up 3. 132 pounds. This was the first match in the Team State finals. Connor Smith did beat Preston Cradaville. It was a close duel. Let me type in the names here. So we gave Smith a 55-45 advantage. I think this one is a true swing match. One of those matches that we could see every time these teams wrestle. And it looks like Cradaville does pick up the victory in this one. So that flips a result from the first time around. 138 pounds, Tyler Yan versus Grayson Clark. We gave Clark a solid 4 here. He beat Yan by 9 or 10 at Team State, and that's just kind of how Yan is when he's going against these really good guys. He's able to, stave off the points a little bit, even against someone like Grayson Clark. Maybe there could be folks that would try and argue Clark could get a tech, but Yan doesn't even really have pins on his mark, so he couldn't argue for a pin here. A solid 4 again, just felt like the right call. 145, Parker Cradaville picked up a pin on Peyton Lee in the duel, so we gave him 6 here. There's plenty of pins on both guys' resumes, both for Cradaville and against Lee, where I felt confident in that decision. Branson Beers versus Chase Vanderlinden. This one, Kakana bumps up Kavanaugh and Hammond, just like they did in the actual duel. And Vanderlinden, just being a reserve guy going against the state qualifier. You look at both their track records and felt comfortable giving Beers 6 there as well. So everything's the same in the duel besides Cradaville beating Smith for now. 160 pounds. We got this one, Swadek versus Kavanaugh. Swadek beat Kavanaugh by, I think, 13 or 14 at Team State. So we did factor in a little bit of a tech fall here as well for Swadek. But it's an 80% chance of a major here. And it ends up being a major still. So Swadek gets 4. And that brings Holman's lead to 24-16. 170 pounds at Judah Hammond versus Kyle Gerald. This one we have as a straight tech for Hammond. Hammond did tech Gerald in the duel. Again, Gerald pretty tough when it comes to not being pinned, and Hammond a lot of techs on his resume. So we went with a solid 5 there. Wenzicki versus Lethan. Lethan had a great Team State tournament performance, but Wenzicki is just a couple cuts above Lethan. He did get a pin in the first period at Team State. I think it'd be the same there. Brian Correa versus Griffin Banks. This one's 60-40 in favor of Correa. They again wrestled a good duel. These last three are basically going to decide the duel here. Holman's going to have to win 2 out of 3 if they want to win. And Kakana, just with the results that they had at Team State, they are favored in 2 of the 3. So we're going to need a little bit of an upset here for Holman if they want to win. But Correa holds strong, stays true to the actual Team State result. And he picks up 3 to make it 32-24. 220 pounds, Westcott versus Luce. This is another really good match. This one's 60-40 in favor of Westcott. Oh man, and Westcott does get the win. So comes down to heavyweight here, folks. Couldn't ask for much more excitement than this going into the last match for the penultimate round of Ultimate Team State. Ron White versus Ben Kruger. Kruger has a 55-45 advantage in this one. Kruger did beat White at Team State. They do have a common opponent. White did beat Josh Hansen of Rapids, who, as we talked about last week, Hansen did beat Kruger throughout the year. So we gave Kruger a slight advantage due to his win at Team State, but basically we got a 50-50 match, but yeah, 55-45. And the duel comes down to this, and White does pick up a win, which puts us into tiebreaker territory. So running through here, Holman or Kakana has 1, 2, 3, 4. Kakana wins 7 times. Holman has 7 wins. Holman has a major. Kakana has a major. Holman has a tech. Kakana has a tech. 3 decisions apiece. All right, folks. I guess the only thing we can do, Tim said we're flipping a coin for the tiebreaker, but here's what we're gonna do, folks. It's Ultimate Team State. We only had 2 duels tonight. We haven't been running for long. We get to run the duel again. Why? Because it's my world and I'm living in it. So in this fake universe, if there's just an ultimate tie, I know like in the real world, there's more stuff that they can depend on, but why not run it? That'd be fun to run a duel if there is every tiebreaker. So the Verbadens picked Kakana. Patrick picked Kakana. Tim did not make his pick, but let's I guess we're running the duel back by my decision. It was an executive decision here. It was 30-30. I don't know how I'm gonna like be able to explain this one, but starting off, Pazorski and Thiel, 80% major, Pazorski, 20% decision. And ends up being a major for Pazorski this time around. So Thiel able to hold off the major the first time, but not this time. Pazorski picks up an extra point, which as we see could be pretty huge in this one. 113 Campbell versus Hansen. Just going to run through quicker on the locked in choices. Peters versus Ammerman. This one's 10.95.6. Can you imagine in the real world if like all the tiebreakers happened and then the referees just said, yeah, we're gonna run this one back. We're gonna see how they do a second time around. Yeah, Matt at a town meeting and watching this. That's dedication to Ultimate Team State, folks. I'm just getting antsy at this point for like real wrestling. Like I love Ultimate Team State. Excited to do the finals next week. Excited to do this again next year. And now that real wrestling's coming up, I'm looking forward to that one. 126 pounds, Weiss and Winans gave 3 to Winans. Smith and Cradaville. Let's see if Cradaville can win 2 in a row. It was a 55-45 in favor of Smith. And that extra 5% does it. Oh, it sneaks back into Holman territory. So Cradaville losing in the real world, but winning with a slight disadvantage in the odds, winning twice tonight. 138 pounds, Jan and Clark. That's 4 for Clark. The next 2 are pins for Holman. So 20-17 Holman. Kavanaugh versus Swadek. 80% chance of a major, 20% chance of a tech. Also, if this one's a tie, then I think I'm going to flip a coin. I don't know if people can. I don't know if people would want to watch the same duel 3 times in a row, but a major in this one for Swadek, 170 pounds. Hammond versus Gerald. Hammond gets a straight 5. When Zicki gets a straight 6. And then brings us right back. So I think now Holman needs to win 3 out of 3 here from 95 through heavyweight if they want to win this one, put themselves in a bit of a disadvantage. But we've seen the wheel do weirder things, folks. And Brian Correa, Mr. Clutch himself, ends up winning the duel for Kakana on the rematch. Good athlete. Of course, he has the stamina to wrestle 2 good matches in a row here. We'll finish off Westcott. We'll finish off the rest of the duel of this encore, I should say. And now Kakana is just going on a run. Jordan Luce picks up the win there. So Holman had a chance. They had a chance to win the revenge match, but couldn't pick up another bonus point here or there to win in the first go around. And this universe just running the second duel just did not work out. I mean, Kakana's the team state champs for a reason, whether it be a hypothetical or not. Kakana just seems to find ways to come up in the clutch. I think I messed up the percentages on that one. Might actually affect this one here, but Ron White again picks up another win to make it at least a little closer for the Vikings, but 34-27, a little too painfully close for my taste to the actual old score. But folks, what we got going to be spinning for the weight for next week. So next week, 7th place match, Coleman versus Wausau West. 5th place, we have Holman versus McGuanago. I'm excited for that one. 3rd place, Marshfield and Kakana, a state title match that could have been last year. And then Rapids versus Amory for the winner of Ultimate Team State 2022. See if I can make the wheel bigger here. I did take off all the weight classes that we've done already. I finally figured out that I could do that instead of just spinning the wheel multiple times. And going from, we started at 106 or 113, 106 in heavyweight in 3 weight class, like 3 times in a row. 160 would have been a fun start spot as well, but we are starting at heavyweight in this one between, but for our next 4 matches next week. Folks, thanks for tuning in. I got another podcast coming out tomorrow, the Sectional H preview with Joey Torres and the Ramoses, Ramos Jr. and Ramos Sr. Let's see. Next week, D2 and D3 sectional previews. Week after, wrestling season is starting. Thanks again for tuning in, folks. This one was short but sweet. And until next time, we will catch you on the flip side.